Waqas, Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum assalam and very warm and good evening to everybody over there.
Wonderful. Are you connected through 5G?
Not yet, but trust me, in a couple of years' time, we'll fix that for you.
Inshallah, wonderful. Waqas, before we go into, I think, the technical nitty-gritties around the 5G, we just saw a very inspirational video of Ericsson. I think for the larger interest of the audience who have connected with us virtually as well as in person, we've been hearing a lot of insightful panels in the last, I think, few hours on digital transformation, new technologies, fusion between household products and the use of applications and everything. But I think 2G, 3G, 4G, and now 5G. I think, can you just delve into a little detail as to what is the primary difference in very simple terms between 4G and 5G?
Thank you, Ali. In fact, given the topic, I would like to take it in 5 steps if you're okay. So when you talk about this generational journey, started with 1G, which was analog voice. Then we talk about digitization of voice in 2G. Then you talk about data enabled on the networks, and that's when you get 3G. But the real user benefits of mobile broadband, when you could really get up to the speeds of, let's say, 30, 40 Mbps for individual users, that is when 4G comes into play. So 4G pretty much enables a society which is basically mobile and enjoying, internet on the go. Now, when it comes to 5G, 5G itself brings a whole, a group of opportunities for everybody. And it's not just talking about individuals, it's talking about the society. It's talking about the enterprises, as I would like to say. So when you talk about difference between 4G and 5G, it's basically 5 key differences which I would like to highlight over here. The first one, basically, it's definitely faster. You're looking at peak of around 20 Gbps as compared to 1 Gbps in 4G. Then you're talking about itself the capacity. So the capacity to connect devices per square mile is a lot more. And that's at least 10 times more. Then third is latency, which is basically you're talking about less than a millisecond, which is really required for mission critical purposes. Then there is better spectrum utilization, and in last go, you're talking about unified platform for mission critical networks. So I don't know. I think these slides are going ahead of me, but this is in a nutshell. It's faster. It offers more capacity. It has significantly lower latency. It allows for massive IoT. It allows for things like a platform for mission critical networks. And it allows you to basically make better use of the available spectrum resources.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much, Waqas, for giving us an overview. Now, in last year's report, Pakistan Telecommunication Authority, they expressed that they would like to auction the 5G spectrum in a couple of years' time. And there's the cybersphere is already buzzing with a lot of 5G testing and everything, and what kind of use cases we will have. But just from an expert opinion, how do you see that? What are some of the opportunities that we are looking at, and how do we need to prepare ourselves? What in terms of the overall ecosystem to ensure that yes, we are ready to bring on 5G technology?
First of all, I think spectrum is the most central element. So unless and until you have the right spectrum, which would be for a country like Pakistan, it could start in 2600 and 3500 megahertz space. So basically, it's about availability of spectrum resources. Then you obviously have to look at the network, and you have to really have fast, availability of fast backbone, where the fiber also comes into play. So then it's the second part is infrastructure. And then you, on top of that, need the device ecosystem, which is also affordable and which basically supports 5G communication. So all of these are key ingredients, and they all need to be put under a planning phase. So what we see, at least as part of this industry in Pakistan, there are already there is an exercise ongoing, which is basically being coordinated at the ministry level, of course, and they know the best about the progress. But what I know is that government is seriously putting all the efforts in to make sure these key ingredients are put into the planning phase now. And then in a couple of years' time, or even before that, we are ready to go into some kind of pilot or execution phase for 5G. But all of this, as I said, that depends on the timing, and nobody can say with certainty if it is going to be a certain particular time period when 5G is finally going to arrive in Pakistan.
Okay, thank you. So moving on, I think we spoke at length as to how COVID-19 changed the overall scheme of things personally, professionally, and I think rather than going to the nitty-gritty, but I think one thing that came out predominantly was that yes, a lot of things went digitally, and there was a lot of use cases for accepting and introducing new digital applications, and which of course with broadband and internet and 4G being at the back of it. Now, when you talk about Pakistan, which is primarily a developing country, and we have some use cases in countries like South Korea and everything, what in your mind is some of the good, unique business cases that can be good for introducing in Pakistan, which our customers would be ready to accept? When we specifically talk about 5G adoption.
Well, I think if you talk in general, I'll be specific here, but generally in a country like Pakistan, obviously, there are things around education, agriculture, which are very much basically tuned to the local sensibilities. But when you look at things which are being done today itself, what I would like to bring is, 5 use cases or opportunities which are being actually worked upon in live environments and not just in case of theory. So basically, some of these could be good learnings for, our businesses in the country, which can actually take, cues from them and actually develop them, localize them, and make them context aware in terms of Pakistani market. So in that case, Ali, if I'm allowed to put 5, let's say, different opportunities in front of you, I would like to basically start, with the industry itself. Because as I tried to explain, 5G is basically not just a connectivity for users like 4G. It's a connectivity for enterprises. It's a connectivity for industry and society at large. So when I look at basically, if you see the first case I would like to bring is basically smart factories with basically automation. So what we see around ourselves today is pretty much in any mission critical environment where processes, complex process loops are running, we are depending on a wired network in a general practice to actually automate the human machine, or as we say, human robot interaction. So it's basically wherever there is this key tasks which are required to be done, it is very important that we basically do that in a time-bound manner. So what 5G brings to the table, we have had a partnership with ABB, where we have demonstrated with a protocol called 5G URLLC, which is ultra reliable, low latency communication. And this is a game changer because what it does is, against the Wi-Fi networks and the 4G networks of today, this protocol provides you with a guaranteed response time as against, a best effort scenario. So basically what we have done with ABB is actually to put this thing in motion and enabling a 5G layer for human-robot interaction to process complex loop of automations in a real-life scenario. So this is not science fiction. This is happening today where humans and robots are working together on the factory floor in harmony and basically manufacturing large-scale equipment.
Okay.
Then, if I move on, there is this health sector, which basically you talked about COVID. It definitely, there is a lot of scope about changing the medium of delivery, about time to service, and also reaching out to far-flung areas. By the way, there is also a very key case in big cities to talk about, providing connected ambulances. So what we have done over here as Ericsson, we have collaborated with University Hospital Birmingham, the NHS, UHB Foundation, and the King's College to come up with a connected ambulance service. And this was demonstrated in UK, where we also performed the first remote diagnostic procedure over 5G. So now what was happening, a camera basically was put in the ambulance, which transmitted high definition footage back to the remote clinic, where the experts were sitting with close to zero latency. There was basically equipment like the VR headset and the joystick, which basically the medical staff could use to remotely guide the paramedic through a series of procedures, based on haptic glove technology. So what you could actually do was first responders could actually access patient data, and they could, by use of high resolution images, they could take decisions, save lives. And I guess in future, the similar solution could be tagged with a transportation system in the city, in large cities, and it can make up for, providing guidance to the traffic signals and also guidance to the ambulance system to go for the shortest route to a medical facility. Now, that is great. This would not only allow people living away from cities to get quality, health service, but it will also, the solutions like these will allow basically serving the unserved or underserved, populations in the world with quality medical services. Then if you move on, you talking about, automation in the field of transportation. And with the transportation, what I mean over there is basically vehicles connected, used either for personal purposes or a fleet, which is basically giving service to enterprises. And we have had two partnerships, one with Scania, which was more tuned towards basically providing remote assistance to their, fleet of truckers to make informed decisions and also providing them with real-time information about the route ahead. But also we actually did, and for your knowledge and the knowledge of audience, on a 4G, advanced 4G network in Australia, with the support from Telstra, we basically used our technology to provide solutions to minimize road accidents by putting up these units, which were, kind of guiding and also monitoring end-to-end, journeys of vehicles in a particular pilot area. And this was done over a public 4G network. So just imagine, with certain tweaks, we could run this pilot successfully, also demonstrating how it helped in reducing the number of road deaths to a point where 5G with its, ultra low latency, it could actually open the doors for, many more applications and many more possibilities. Then I was talking about the smart factories. So I would like to go back to the industrial base again, because that is something which I think stands to benefit the most in the coming era because of efficiency, but also because of safety. So what we have done, Ali, with Audi, the German car maker, what we have done is we have gone on the factory floor and we have basically designed safety procedures where if there is a worker coming in close vicinity of a robot working, then the whole system will shut off immediately. And the protocol, which I talked about a little earlier, basically that is the basis, the 5G URLLC, the ultra low reliable and low latency protocol, that this allows for this very fast and almost real-time decision making, where basically you provide the flexibility on the factory floor as well as safety. And just to add to that, Ali, and for the audience, just imagine when there is no wire connected to your robots and your machines, the layout could be changed very quickly to basically suit the production limits or production, facility. You could just go and just put your machines wherever you want to do certain tasks. So that provides more efficiency, that provides better flexibility for the factories of tomorrow. And lastly, because of the pandemic, one thing I just wanted to highlight was basically this important case where we were basically testing how we could come up with a more connected office environment. And office environment is not just about providing communication tools. Reliable communication tools are definitely a must since we have gotten and experienced this pandemic. But on the other side, having a greener office, also utilizing the assets we have in the office in a more optimized way, I think that is also equally important. So what we did over here with steel case, this provider of architecture, furniture, as well as technology products for the offices, we did a pilot in Georgia, in US. And what we wanted to demonstrate was, if you want to have the best intelligence and the best optimum use of IoT devices embedded into your office infrastructure and office flow, then you need to have a 5G network. So what we did was we used a private 5G network connected with a massive IoT solution to actually test many tens of use cases around office intelligence. And that basically is kind of paving the way for us to design the workplace of tomorrow. So if I just kind of summarize, it's more about imagining what you could do, Ali. I'm not sure if you want to take other views while we are talking before we can get towards the end. So I would really like the audience to also be involved if anyone has their own views and experiences about 5G.
No, thank you very much, Waqas. I think those were very interesting insights, and we're getting a lot of engagement on the Slido platform, and people are posting their comments and feedback. And before we get to some of the actionable items and key takeaways from your session, I think one thing which is also something interesting and has been taking the news of recently is the growth and the introduction of space satellites, space internet. And recently, Elon Musk has launched his Starlink program. Jeff Bezos has launched his Project Cooper. So what are we looking at? 5G, yes, it's something which is very positive and can make wonders, especially for a country like Pakistan, where we are already signatories to the International United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And as you rightly put, it can actually spur the overall development quite rapidly. Now, if we talk about space internet in the near future, is this like a kind of a direct competition with the likes of 5G, or will they be able to, let's say, work in tandem and, let's say, service a different kind of customer base or business enterprise base? What are your thoughts around this?
Very interesting question, Ali. Thank you for asking that. I guess to start with, there is ample space for everyone. So it's not like, one technology is going to just come and move everything aside. Although we still maintain that 5G, because of the attributes we discussed in the beginning, is a game changer and is going to become a backbone for mobile internet everywhere. And it would unlock many cases. But when we talk about, solutions like you touched upon, the low orbit satellite solutions for internet, then definitely it is a progress. It is going to improve the existing services which are available via satellite, because the latency factor is going to be greatly reduced. The bandwidth is going to increase. But I think because of the nature of the service, where you would require a pinpointed triangulation to come and actually provide this kind of service, the use cases are going to be different than, a 5G network. So they will definitely have a place. How much they can basically deliver based on a 20-25 millisecond latency that is being expected today, along with, data rates which are being tested at 600 Mbps for now. How they would, behave in load environment remains to be seen. There are, as you pointed out, there are certain trials going on, and probably we will get some in our country as per news. So it would be great to keep an eye on. It would be a substitute to, home broadband, DSL especially. I'm not sure about fiber, but it would play in a different market. The initial cost is not going to make it a mass market product, I'm afraid, as well. And then, as I said, because of the triangulation, you would need a small box to receive or a dish or something to receive the signals properly. So it's not going to be very mobile. So it's a different solution. It's a very smart solution, and only detailed tests are going to demonstrate in which demographics this solution is going to be for optimum use. And mind you, as you pointed out, there are already other players, including China, who are very interested and who are exploring this particular area for providing solutions.